as I sat there thinking about what had just occurred, there's a couple of things I just want to say, and I want to say this to everyone who's a White Sox fan that's listening, and folks who follow me on Twitter. And I don't know if any of those folks listening on this, but uh, this is a really good group of players that goes far beyond just like a few guys. We're talking probably 9 players deep between pitchers and starting position players that are going to be in place for a long time. At least, we got 2 more years of Lance Lynn, and then after this year we got 2 more options of Timmy. Club options, that is, so he's not gonna have a choice. Yeah, and then we got those other guys locked up on team quote unquote friendly deals, which won't really even know
Abreu's
that.
the only one gone after
Yeah,
next year,
yeah, which we
potentially.
won't even know the truth of that until after his collective bargaining agreement is done. So
Stay
we'll
tuned this offseason
stay
as
tuned this
we
offseason,
follow that closely.
which could screw everything up for all of our team's plans depending on how things go. But the
You have
idea
reason for optimism, I think, is
I
your point.
I am I'm it's a different feeling than when the White Sox have lost in years past, because in most times when the White Sox have lost in years past, they're not the team that's supposed to be there. They're the team that suddenly clicks and makes it there.
Right. There wasn't a
The,
long-term plan for sustained success the way there is
exactly.
now.
So when friends of mine shoot back at me that the reason they are not optimistic going forward is because of 2009 and 1984, and it's just an archaic way of thinking, because
Archaic is perfect way to describe
none
it.
of these people exist on this team anymore. This is a completely different team, and it's a completely different culture
They
outside of the
wear
owner.
they wear the same laundry. That's the biggest connection. I
Yes.
mean,
Well, not even if you go back to 83, those were completely different uniforms.
well, I
Well,
hopefully
actually,
hopefully they've changed their uniforms
on
over the years,
Sundays,
but
they wear the same laundry as
okay.
1983.
That's right. Right.
Tony feels at home every Sunday. He's like, back in my old digs. But this is also a team, much like Smitty has seen with the Illich family when Daddy Illich, I can't think of his first name, sorry,
Mike.
was Mike was getting
The late
older.
Mike Ilitch.
Mike didn't mind opening up the pocketbook to sign talent in hopes to get that World Series before he died. And we're kind of at that same point with Jerry Reinsdorf at this point. And
Yeah.
mortality's in his head after unfortunately his wife passed away this past season. So there is going to be a sense of urgency still, especially since like a guy like Lance Lynn is only with you for 2 more years. So the main part of the window is the next 2 years. And the only other thing I wanted to point out is there's 2 things I want to point out. One,
wow.
I don't understand the narrative that suddenly came out that the White Sox were supposed to win the division and supposed to be in the ALCS this year, when most people in the preseason had them finishing 3rd in the division and maybe making the wild card.
World Series or bust. That was
I
the T-shirt.
No, right. No, that's I mean, that's what every team's aspiration should be. But I don't understand where every sports person went from saying they were on the cusp to suddenly they were supposed to go on and win the World Series, and how this year is just a huge disappointment. Especially when my final point is, you and I have discussed this and we're in agreement on this. If the Sox played a full season last year, they would not have made the playoffs. If they had played a 162 game season, they would not have made the playoffs outside of the bubble. They would have been close.
Yeah,
They
I'm not
would
sure
have,
I 100% agree with that. It's hard to measure.
but
Last year was so weird in so many
yeah.
ways, especially
So
the schedule and, playing the same 10 teams, 9
the
teams. So
and while we can all say this is the first time in club history, which just makes me want to throw up in my mouth, that they've made it to the postseason in back-to-back years.
yeah.
That's embarrassing. But at the same time, this is really their first true year of making the postseason with this team, because they played a full schedule and then went into the postseason. So let's not get too upset and be overly disappointed. Now, I will tell you right now on this podcast, on this day of the 14th
Is it
of
the 14th?
October, that if they do not make the LCS next year, I would be majorly disappointed.
Whoa. We got to make some kind of bet or something.
Timestamp this. Seal this in a bottle.
What are the stakes? We'll come up
I
with
love
that.
steak. We'll build steaks.
I
How
think
about I treat you to a Revolution beer if
yeah,
I'm
there
wrong?
you go. We'll discuss this. Maybe
We have plenty of time to
yeah,
discuss this.
we have time to discuss. I think White Sox consternation comes to what we just talked about with if you could pin one thing on why they lost this series. The problem is there's probably 5 or 6 things you could pin on.
God, no,
So
no doubt. I
that,
mean,
that's the frustration, I believe. So I think we'll be able to break those down throughout the off season.